Welcome back to Backspace Academy. So what is AWS OpsWorks? It's a configuration management platform. So what that means is that we have assets that we want to deploy our application on, and they will consist of instances, maybe EC2 instances. They could consist of elastic load balancers, a number of things. And the way that those assets or those resources and instances are configured, we need to define, and that is done with OpsWorks in code. So this provides us much more control over infrastructure design and management than we would get with Elastic Beanstalk. And we use Chef recipes, and they enable us to have that infrastructure designed as code and gives us very fine-grained control over our infrastructure. Now, OpsWorks, it consists of a configuration management model, and it's based upon stacks, layers, and recipes, which we'll go through right now. So a stack, that is the top-level OpsWorks entity, and it represents a set of instances and applications that you want to manage collectively. So that could be a web server, it could be an enterprise resource planning application. So it's a set of instances and applications for that that are managed collectively. So for example, if we had a web server stack, that may contain a load balancer, server instances, and a database. So within a stack, we have layers, and those layers define how to set up and configure instances and resources. And you can mix and match these layers. So a layer can be used in multiple stacks, okay? And a stack can be made up of one layer or can be made up of multiple layers. But a stack must contain at least one layer. And layers, they must contain at least one instance. Now these instances can also be a member of multiple layers. So you can reuse instances. You can better utilize them across multiple layers. And the applications, well, they're the code that will run on your server. So if it's a Node.js server, that will be your Node.js application code, and that will run on your Node.js server if that is what you are setting up with OpsWorks. So scaling. So we have three different types of scaling that we can utilize with OpsWorks. So you can have 24/7 instances, and they can be added to a layer. And you can manually start or stop or reboot those corresponding EC2 instances that have been defined. And we also have automatic scaling. So that can be on a time-based or load-based. So it would be time-based if it's based upon a schedule. So between 7 and 8 o'clock at night, we're going to have X capacity. Or it could be load-based. So that would be based upon a load metric, say network traffic or CPU utilization. So when demand is high, that would scale up. So an effective strategy would be to use all three different types of scaling. So you would have for your baseline capacity, you would have a 24/7 instance. And then for automatic scaling, for your peak periods, you could have a time-based instance based upon a schedule. And you could also have a load-based instances that would react to network traffic or CPU utilization to take advantage to look after those situations that you didn't expect, and you need excess capacity that you didn't have. So then once we've got those layers, we've got our stack, we can then look at deployment and customization. So our app and its associated infrastructure that is needed for that app to run will be deployed automatically through OpsWorks. And our Chef recipes, they define our infrastructure as code. So we can use those Chef recipes to further customize. We can use those Chef recipes to redeploy our environment again. We can also use those Chef recipes under version control. So we can not only have our infrastructure as code, we can have it managed, our infrastructure managed under version control. And we can also reuse our code. So that's a very big difference between what you would have with Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, so Elastic Beanstalk just looks after deploying your application to resources. So this looks a lot more, it's a lot more advanced and a lot more fine-grained and far more integrated with the infrastructure.